This episode is brought to you by the shows of the You Run Podcast Network, all available at yourunpodcast.com. Whether it's true crime or film reviews, even TV series deep dives, the You Run Podcast Network has you covered. So go and check out yourunpodcast.com today. Hi, Mark.
Hello.
Do you know what they call the Hunger Games in France?
I did French at school as well and should be able to translate that for you very easily, but I can't.
They call it a Battle Royale with cheese. Sorry, that was terrible. I'll explain about my no-note situation in a minute.
Mom!
It's off the top of your head.
We're making a title sequence.
You want to die tonight?
The dad jokes you tell sets the scene. I hang on every word lost in the screen. The passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Marc's overblown roundups. You run podcasts or a movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after I fled. But no! Do not want that!
Hello and welcome to the You Run Podcast Horror Movie Review. My name is Scott.
My name is Marc.
And I feel naked and afraid because I wrote the run through for the episode where I've got my joke, I've got like who's interacted with the show and kind of just a general order in which we do things. I thought I saved it and I opened it a minute ago and I have the notes for the autopsy of Jane Doe and nothing else. I have nothing in front of me today.
We'll be fine. We'll wing it, man. It usually works out okay for us. But before we do, can I just check you have your microphone plugged in this week?
Yes, I do. And I want to apologize for last week because no amount of editing would fix the back feed on that episode. And it's 100% my fault. I didn't check that my microphone was on correctly and it wasn't. And I was recording through my webcam, which is sat about 3 feet away. So I sounded like I was in a cave and had a high pitched squeal over me.
Amateur hour.
Honestly, like so the episode went really well. It was a really good episode. I sat down to edit, switched it on. I was like, clicked it, played the intro bit, and then it's just like this high pitched squeal. I couldn't hear anything else. It took, I don't know, a couple of hours to reduce that down to what we released. And I was so pissy for the whole week, like fucking stupid fucking microphone.
I haven't listened, man. I never listened back to the episodes, but Heather said it was all right. She said it weren't that bad.
Yeah, Heather was very generous about it. I had a message. I won't say who it's from. Another fellow podcaster who's very, very, let's say they're very particular about their audio quality. And they messaged me, what the fuck happened this week? I was like, a lot happened this week. But this week's going to sound much better. We are a horror movie review show, as the title of the show would lead you to believe. We review horror movies selected by you. We give a full rundown. We give pretty much everything you need. We give you some facts. We have some games. We just generally have fun with them. We're also running a competition at the moment. It's really easy to enter. All you need to do is leave us a 5-star review somewhere and basically send me a screenshot of it. We're at You Run Podcast across all social medias to do that. If you're going to follow us on social media, make sure you follow Marc as well. He's at Reviews from the Crypt and at VHS from the Crypt on Instagram. If you've already left us a review, you can comment on Spotify, and that also will be an entrant into our competition. And if you win in January when we draw the names, you will win 3 pieces of merchandise from our website store. And there is loads on there. You can have the highly coveted, desperately desired t-shirt that Marc wants, the Colonel Cockring t-shirt.
Yep.
If you're not feeling that, you can maybe have some good old oozing daddy vibes. Or if you like our true crime content, you can have a bitch True Crime Unfiltered Heather t-shirt. So you can have, in fact, you could have all 3 of those. So what a great reason to enter. Also, if everybody who listened to our episode last week left us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify, this show would be in the top 20 entertainment podcasts in the world.
Wow. That's a nice hypothetical, isn't it?
It really is, but it's so simple. Everyone listening now, if you left us a review, you would actually propel us up into within striking distance of shows like Joe Rogan. Can you imagine how mental that is? But that is just by leaving a review, you could do that. So if you listen every week and you love the show and you want to help us, fucking help us. Leave us a review. It really, really does help. You can also get in touch with the show. You can send us an email, yourunpodcast@gmail.com. I don't know why I say it because no one ever emails us. You can also leave us an audio message. You can do that on Instagram and X. And the way you do that is go to send a DM, push and hold the microphone button down and record the message. And we play them here on the show. We have a lot this week. We're very popular this week. We're going to start off with what seems to be something
Welcome to the quiz.
We have a message from Wolfman's Got Nards, especially for you, Mark.
Why?
I don't know, but I do love the fact that he has become Jigsaw.
Hello.
Why are you allowing
Want to play
this?
a game?
I think he misses the quiz. I actually messaged him and said, "What's the questions about?" He's like, "I'm just bitter that I never won the quiz when I come on."
You'll have to come back and try again. We haven't done a quiz in a while, actually.
We haven't. Christmas is coming. Maybe we'll do a Christmas quiz for each other.
Yeah, we had Alex on as well, actually, not so long ago for I Know What You Did Last Summer. We didn't quiz him.
No, we didn't. We've been really good by not quizzing people, but we'll bring a quiz back at some point. Yeah. But anyway, here's the first message.
Okay, Mark, you were a little bit unlucky with your Texas Chainsaw question that I gave you last week, but here's another one-question quiz for you. See if you can get this one right. And Jeepers Creepers, how many years does the Creeper hibernate for? And when he comes back, how many days is he out for? Let's see if you can get that one right. Good luck.
I mean, in my defense, I think I did very, very fucking well with the off-the-cuff Texas Chainsaw Massacre question. I was in within like a few days, which is impressive.
I thought you'd done well. How about this question?
As for the Jeepers Creepers question, I think it's 7 years worth of hibernation and then 7 days of hunting. I think.
Unfortunately, that is incorrect, and by a lot. That's not even like in the ballpark. It's 23 years he hibernates, and he's awake for 23 days. And if he doesn't feed within the
number,
and if he doesn't feed within the 23 days, he loses his immortality.
Right. Yeah. Well, the guy who directed that movie is a paedophile anyway, so let's not even go there.
He is. That's true. Well, I think we need more quiz questions for you. So, Barry, if you're listening, fire up, tee up like a really easy one. Like tee up, I don't know, like who was the killer in the 1978 Halloween, and maybe Mark will get that one.
Oh, fuck off! They're both like they're really hard questions in terms of dates and numbers. You know what I mean? They're hard questions.
They are.
Like if we was doing a quiz, I would probably put them towards like the back half of the quiz when things were getting a bit tough.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Let's move on to our next message.
Round 1. Fight!
Pause. I'm taking a quick pause from the Jane Doe, whatever, episode, and I'm going to let Mark know. Mark, I didn't contradict my own argument. What I said was, it's like the pronunciation. Obviously, we have different pronunciations. I'm from the South. I can't fucking help it. I live in Louisiana in the United States of Americas. Okay, so our pronunciations are different. But Moira and Myra are two different names. That's why I made the reference to say Mark, and Joseph. So, anyway, that was very passive-aggressive, but more aggressive. But I'm just saying... Obviously, you guys say things with an accent because that is what you have. I also have an accent. Okay. Why am I always out of breath? You're pissing me off a little bit, I think. But anyway, low-key. See you guys later.
I mean, to me, it sounds like she's saying the same name twice, so I'm not really sure what she's getting at.
See, and you then wound it in. This come in the group chat, that message, and then you sent a picture of a Texas Chainsaw Massacre T-shirt. And
yes, I have the T-shirt on.
Yeehaw, that's amazing. Yeehaw, bitches. All that did was just enrage Heather.
Finish him!
Just recording this to send to you guys because I am driving. Well, I'm driving down a little side road, so don't think I'm negligent and an idiot. But I hope you wear that fucking shirt, Mark. I hope you wear it. I hope you wear it every day. It's really cute, so who gives a shit anyways? Yeehaw, bitch. On a separate note, Scott, yeah, the episode sounds fine. You can tell it's a little, I mean, it's sort of like you just record it without some equipment. It's not that as bad as you're making it out to be. I think you're being a little bit of a drama queen, but, you know, still love you. Still love you. It's okay. I know you work hard to make sure the episodes sound really good. It's really not that bad, honestly. I mean, I can still hear everything, but Mark's bad attitude, it needs to be cut down. So let's turn that down. See you guys later.
My bad attitude? What have I done?
I think just your bad attitude of the group chat is what she was addressing. You're just constant digging at Heather. Do you know, one day when I'm feeling sort of genocidal, I may just start releasing like clips of our group chat on a reel.
I wouldn't recommend you do that.
I think like when you and Heather are really going at it, I'll just screenshot it and just that you know, when people do like the AI videos where they make like an AI song over the conversation.
Oh yeah.
I could do that with like a male vocalist and a female vocalist arguing and release it.
I'm sure you've got enough content to do so.
I have. Oh God, if I went back to some of the old group chats.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
There were some pissy drunken nights when me and Heather used to fight for hours.
Yeah. Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Okay, maybe I should have did this a week ago. Death Becomes is a hot, steaming pile of mess. I never liked it even as a child. And for that dude to compare it to anything Hitchcock's ever done is absolutely vilely disgusting. Shocking behaviour.
Very passionate message.
Dave's got beef with someone. It was Alex compared Death Becomes Her to Hitchcock. So there's beef between Dave B Movies and AMPFX Studios.
I mean, that is a wild comparison, isn't it? It's called Death Becomes Her Hitchcockian.
I think it is, but I can see where he's drawing the parallels. I can see what he's referencing. But as for Dave's thoughts on Death Becomes Her, as far as I'm concerned,
flawless victory.
Can you guess? I found a Mortal Kombat soundboard this week.
There is a running theme occurring at the moment.
There really is. We've got one more message and then we're going to get into this week's review. So this is the final message we have.
All right, guys, I'm not so mad at you anymore. I just listened to the episode of The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and you liked the movie. Thank goodness, because if you said the movie was bad, I was going to say y'all have some major issues, and maybe we can't be friends anymore. Just kidding. Anyways, just a quick little message to say thank you guys for the sweet shout out for Grandpa. You know, he means the world to me, and I did want to let you know we did watch The Autopsy of Jane Doe, and it was really funny because the night before we watched Reanimator, which I would not recommend watching with your grandfather because it's very awkward. But anyways, he got the movie confused with Reanimator. So the video is quite funny because he's like, we watched this already. And I had to keep telling him we did not watch it. But anyways, great episode, guys. Love you. Bye.
I love you, random citizen.
Thanks, Mary. Like that video as well. I when we drop this episode, I'm going to put it in the story. It is so funny because every time she turns the camera around to Grandpa, he's almost going like, we've seen, like pointing at the screen, like I watched this shit yesterday, and it's so good, so good. Anyway, He's wonderful. Today we are covering a movie that sits in my top 10 of all time horror movies. It sits at number 7, sometimes fluctuates into the top 5, depending on what mood I'm in. It is a movie that has in-depth social commentary, has some amazing kills. In my opinion, it is the best foreign film ever made, and Mark doesn't like it. So today,
Round 2, fight!
That is some wildly overblown statements you just made regarding this
we
movie, I'll be honest.
are going to be talking about Battle Royale from the year 2000. Let's go through the review as normal. Let's keep my undying love for this movie as a feature point of how good foreign cinema can be, and how wonderful acted it can be, and how brutally violent it can be while still being funny, and how it can have such great social commentary, and how it can just be just a perfect film. I'll keep all of that aside, and you keep your horrible hatred to one side, and we'll just talk about the movie, and we'll do it at the end.
I don't think I can. I'm probably going to be a pissy little bitch throughout this whole episode.
Well, let's start with some of your highlights then. What in this movie do you like? Because you can't say you don't like anything in this movie, because then
No,
we'll have
and I don't dislike anything in particular about this movie. I just think, as a general movie as a whole, I just don't think it's quite that great. I don't think there was anything special about it. I love movies like this. You know, I love the movie Cube. Cube is one of the greatest movies of all time, in my opinion. I love that movie unconditionally, and I feel like a lot of the themes play out the same. The whole pitting people against each other in situations they wouldn't usually find themselves in. And I think the concept of the movie alone is pretty impressive. You know, I think it's pretty well executed in that sense. And you're right, some of the kills are pretty cool. Especially my favorite being the one at the beginning, the first kill where the girl comes walking out the woods with the arrow through her neck. That whole shock as she's dying, like, what's happening? How do I fix this? What's going on? I thought that was really impressive and a really great way of setting the tone of these characters.
Did you not find, like, the opening segment where you've got all the reporters running up and you're met by the tiny little girl cuddling her teddy, absolutely caked in blood, smiling? Did you not watch that and go, holy shit, I'm in?
Kind of. I'll be honest with you, it really took me a long while to sort of settle into this movie. I don't think it was until pretty much the arrow kill, I think, was the first time I really started to pick up a little bit. And you have quite a good 40 minutes before that moment.
Yeah, you do, because you've got all the stuff in the school and, like, the student stabbing the teacher. The teacher's a fantastic actor.
Yeah, he's really
cool baddie.
Yeah, he's just a generic pissed off gym teacher, but he plays it very, very well by all accounts. Yeah, and I mean, so you've got quite a lot of build up before we even get to the actual momentum of the story. A good 40 minutes of it, I would say. It just didn't drag me in. I was like, this is very bloated. Like, I know a lot of it does come full circle and does have its payoffs in the end, but even then, there's still questions I have regarding certain characters and their involvement. And so, like, I'll just do it now. Like, the teacher's obsession with that girl, I didn't quite grasp what his obsession was with her and the relationship between the two. Like, at one point, I even thought it was his daughter, and I was like, well, why would his daughter be in here?
Yeah, there's lots of ways you could look at Battle Royale 2. Kind of answers a little bit more of that. Long and short of it, he picked that as his favorite. Like, when they were all in that class at the beginning, when he was actually their teacher, she was his favorite pupil. Yeah. That was the one she's like, you're going to do well. And I think he worked on the premise of, like, you don't need to be in Battle Royale, so I'm going to do whatever I can to kind of get you through it. Like the bit later in the movie where she's about to be killed by the coolest, nastiest bitch in the movie.
I did like her.
Oh, she's cool. And he just casually strolls out and, like, gives her an umbrella. Like, it's raining. Yeah. Don't get too cold tonight. The brutal girl, I can't pronounce any of their names. I'm not even going to attempt
to.
Either. She is fabulous. Her and the girl who's in the yellow jumpsuit are both excellent characters.
And I think that's as well is like we're talking about certain characters, and these two characters that we're referencing now are very marginally involved in a movie. The main cast of characters that we actually follow, I didn't feel were very investable. I didn't particularly warm to any of them. The decisions and stuff that they make throughout, I feel are very foolish. And I know the kids, and I know the way that's what it's trying to present itself as, but for me, it just made me not necessarily. I didn't dislike any character in here, but I just didn't be like, "Yes, I want you to survive this. Come on, you can do this." Like it all just felt a little bit bloated by the amount of characters that were involved, and that's one thing that I did appreciate a little bit is how quickly they did obliterate a lot of them early on. But I feel like maybe having a smaller core cast of kids pitted against each other, ramping up more on the tension and the sort of stalking slasher element of the story as opposed to it felt like in some cases it was verging on the point of being an action movie, and I was like, I'm not really feeling this. It's just too much bloat, too much excess, and that's what I felt from it all the way through. Really was just tighten up the group, make it more investable, give us more development for each individual character so we can want them to succeed, we can push for them to get further. But it was just 50 kids, and then all of a sudden it's just like rah, and I was losing track of who was who. I couldn't work it out, and I didn't hold my focus for that reason. And I think just a tighter knit group of people that we spend more time with and were more fleshed out would have suited this narrative a bit better, in my opinion.
Yeah, see, I think for me, the build up to it is the bit that the build up to actually getting to Battle Royale is the bit that I really enjoy of this movie. And I enjoy it for a number of reasons. It's like when you see all the kids just socializing on the bus and like all of that, that's when I'm like going, "Oh, okay, she's the bitch. Oh, okay, he's the handsome one who all the girls fancy." And like all of that plays out in the movies. They kind of preference all of these characters and give them very heavy stereotypes that when they go into a situation where they're all out to kill each other, like the super handsome guy, half the girls there, they don't want to kill him. In fact, some of them at one point save him and kind of lock him in a room, and I almost get like they're going to use him as a sex toy kind of vibe from that whole thing. And then you've got the bitch character, and as soon as she steps out of that classroom onto the island, she's like, right, I need a weapon. I need to go here. I need to do that. I'm going to fuck you up. And she has no hesitation. And I love my favorite bit in this. It just entertains me, makes me laugh, and shocks me all at the same time is when the teacher puts on the Welcome to Battle Royale video. And it almost looks like it could be straight out of Pokemon, with this girl in like these really bright colors going, "Hello, welcome to Battle Royale. You're all going to go kill each other. That sounds fun." Yes. And then like the class start freaking out, and he picks that knife up and like right in the forehead of that girl. I was like, oh shit.
Shot.
Yeah. And
even again though, in that moment, he's like, "I'm not allowed to kill people," but then there's no implications for him doing so in that moment. I was like, that should have had ramifications if the rules are as strict as you're implying they are. That there's a lot of little things like that throughout this that annoyed me that I don't feel like were fleshed out properly. And considering the runtime of this movie, I just don't know where the time went with it, because that was one of them that pissed me off. And then the second one is the dead zones. So throughout the time, they're constantly saying, right, if you imagine the island mapped out onto a grid, they're like, right, grid section B12 is going to be a dead zone at 2:00. Anybody in that area who's wearing, obviously, you've all got collars on that make your head explode. Anybody in that area, the collar's going to explode. It's a way to keep everybody moving, so you just don't find a hiding place and try and wait it out, which is clever, and I like how they've done that. But then they never implement anybody or any character from an emotional standpoint to use this narrative. Like, they should have had somebody who was terrified and was hiding in a location. The alarm goes off, you're not allowed to be in this area, and then he's still frightened to death and doesn't move, and the collar goes off and kills him. There was no utilization of that plot point, which was annoying because it is great.
Yeah, and then there are other ways they use the fear element, like the boy and the girl who go out together and they walk down to the cliff edge, and neither
Yes.
of them want to fight, and they just jump to their death. Like there's a few
Yeah.
moments like that where you're like, oh wow, like it's dark, and it's dark probably more so because they're kids. Like these are like, I don't know, 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
It's not like a group of adults going out and doing this, because you'd be like, oh, that's cool. Like he's the muscle guy. Oh, that's the ninja guy. Like that's how that would play out. They've done it 100 times since with
Yeah.
movies like this. But in this, because they're kids, I think it gives a different element of showing how children react differently to adults. Because
Yeah.
there's many characters in this that are terrified. There's many characters in this that are in it for just their death, like the three guys that the crazy girl hangs in the tree.
Yes.
I I can't get across how amazing her character is, and I think had we followed her, this movie could have been even better.
Yeah, I just don't think the lead was a very strong lead. The two characters that we're supposed to follow, and I know the purpose of their character is tying to the end in terms of, because the character that they meet, I can't remember his name, but he's like, there's a two older characters, one of them who's been in Battle Royale before, and then one of them who's an absolute fucking psychopath, like the guy from Saw 2 who cuts a tattoo out the back of his neck. He's basically that character in this movie.
Yeah.
They're really good. I like those implemented into this group of characters because it creates a friction and dynamic between the cast members who are fighting for their life because they have to, and the ones that are banding together in order to survive. But the good of the two evil, who sort of associates himself with our core cast, our two leads, his story was really cool. I like how he explains on why he took sympathy on them, and it also gives the whole red herring ending at the end, which again I don't think is very well executed and isn't fleshed out enough, and does leave a lot of plot holes as to how they managed to do that precisely, other than a simple throwaway comment that he doesn't want to check the collars. That was weak and unsatisfying for me. But I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just rambling nonsense about the things that I dislike.
How did you feel about the group of guys who just set up, like they're the tech wizards, and
they were my favorite. They were my favorite throughout. Yeah, I really, really liked them. I thought it was really clever. They were implementing stuff like they knew that they were recording on the microphone, so they were very quick. That's the side of stuff that I like. Like they were the kind of cast that I was like, yes, like let's get to the bottom of this. Let's survive this. And let's not kill each other and just accept the rules. Let's try and beat the system. So I was really invested in their arc. I thought they were cool. And I wish they'd have been utilized a bit more and had some sort of involvement in the end. I know they do in a way because they hacked the entire system and shut it down for a while. But I don't know. I would have liked to have seen them a little bit more involved in the through line of the movie.
Yeah, see, I like them, and I like the fact that they do realise the collars have got mics and they're stuffing tissue in between their neck and the collar so they can't hear what they're saying. I also like the fact they're like, look, all we need to do is take down their server. We need to build a bomb in a truck, drive it into where they are, blow it up, and we can all go home. Like, again, it's really far-fetched, but it's really like the mind of a 14-year-old or a group of 14-year-olds would be like, yeah, we could do this. Like at that age, there is no element of fear when you're in a group of guys like that. It's like, yeah, fucking, we don't care. Yeah, there's armed guards there. That'd be all right. We'll just drive the truck through them. It's fine.
Yeah.
And I like that. I do like the guy who looks like he's been taken straight out of a manga comic, though. The psycho guy who's got Uzis and like the bit where he's hunting one of the people around the house and he like shoots him and the guy falls back. And then you see the guy get up because his weapon that he was given is a bulletproof vest. And he's like, it's brilliant. I've survived. And then he looks up and the guy's on the roof with the samurai sword and like jumps down.
His head off.
So good.
Yeah. He is cool. I do like him. One thing I didn't get about him towards the end is why does he go blind? I can't remember how he goes blind because he has like the weird black The Crow makeup and like completely white eyes. And I'm like, have I just missed something here?
It's from the blast of the explosion that he was right in front of, that just that flash in his eyes blinded him.
Right. I mean, yeah. Again, wild. Not quite believable. Same with the girl who's the lead character. She gets like the tiniest little slash on her arm and then she faints for like 4 days and goes into some sort of weird coma. I'm like, no. That's not how it works. He even said in the scene before, it's just a scratch, let me put some water on it and you'll be fine. And then the next thing, she's passing out because it's relevant to the story. I'm like, what?
I I did like the guy who spent all movie just trying to find the girl he loved. I felt so sorry for him where he goes he goes and finds the tech guys. Then he's like, "Have you seen the girl?" They're like, no." He's like, "Well, the weapon I got was like this little tracker, so I just guess I'll go and try one of these other dots." And like, he pops up periodically with different characters, and then he finds her, and she kills him. I'm like, "Oh man."
So he originally went after, I don't know if he originally went after, but he goes after the girl who gets shot, the runner girl. She
Mhm.
gets shot and dies from her injuries. Was he in love with her because the flashbacks of him running behind her on the bike make it seem like that's the one he's obsessed with, and they don't have any build up or explanation to the final girl that he chases after who kills him? Like they spend a good 10 minutes of the movie building up the relationship between those two, only for it to be the other girl at the end that he's actually one in love with. I'm like, but you've showcased us so much of his obsession with the other girl. Why are you now, because she's got shot and dead, telling us that he's in love with her friend? I don't get it.
You've been 15, right?
Yeah, I've been 15, man. Do you know what I mean? But like, it's
How often did you chop and change the girl that you fancied?
But the thing about it is that earlier on when he's talking to the tech guys and he's on about his tracker and he says, I've got to find them both. I've got to find so-and-so and so-and-so. And the Glads are even like, why is he? I'm sure he said both of them, right? As if
Yeah,
like,
he did.
I don't get it. He's not that cool of a dude to have them both. You know what I
Everyone
mean?
dreams of a threesome. Like it's the end of the world,
No.
girls. Like we're all gonna die in a couple of hours. Like, what have you got to lose? That's where he's going, I think.
I get it,
there
man,
is
but it's again, it's just not fulfilled or fleshed out properly enough for me. And this movie's 2 fucking hours long. It's a 2-hour movie, man. It drags so much in certain places, and like
really.
it does, man. It does. I know you love it. I don't know what your nostalgic attachment is to this movie. Whatever it is, you go for it. That's great. I'm not going to knock you for it, and I can see why, if I watched this at a certain time in my life, why I would be like, yeah, that's such a cool movie. But like for me now, as a first time watch, I can't bring myself to understand how someone can have such a strong attachment to a movie like this. This is one of those movies where I just imagine it coming out and flying under the radar and not many people talk about it. But I know it's loved and it's well praised and it's talked about as being like one of those brutal, gory things. It's not. It's not at all. It's really,
This
really not. Some of the deaths in it, yeah, all right, they're a bit brutal because they're kids in certain places, but they're not shocking. They're not violently gory.
still to this day has a 90% Rotten Tomatoes score from critics and an 89% Rotten Tomatoes score from audiences with over 5,500 reviews.
And that's great. And I'm not criticizing anybody who loves this movie. You know, it's subjective. Everything is subjective. For me, I just don't get it. This isn't my type of movie at all. There's too much here that's not connected properly. It just didn't satisfy me at the end.
How about like the bit at the beginning where they're dishing out their bags and their weapons, and it's
Really
very
cool.
clear,
I love that.
like really clear that they're not random. So like the soldiers picking up bags and chucking them to people, and it's very much a social standing commentary or how they feel about that person. Like our main character got a fucking pot lid, and like the psycho killer got sent a bag. He got halfway down the corridor, come back, fucking launched it at the guard and went, "That's not my bag," and picked up another bag because he knew he should have had one full of weapons. Like I loved that. That was like they're deliberately hindering certain people and
I
deliberately
didn't pick up on
helping
that.
others.
I did genuinely assume it was random. I did wonder why he came back and changed his bag. Did he look in it outside and realize it weren't good enough,
Yeah,
or I
he
don't know.
realized realized it wasn't the bag he should have had, because he's a plant, same as the other guy. They've been put there for a purpose, which is to help move things along and wipe out some of the kids. Because
Because
you
he's
put
a
47
survivor. He's
kids.
been there 3 years before.
Yeah.
Why is he back again? How have they got him in for the second time?
Which one? The one who helps them or the psycho one?
The one that helps him. I don't think the psycho one's been in before. They mentioned that he enters voluntarily, like he's chosen to be there.
Yeah, the one that is back again, he volunteered to be in because he wanted, for his personal reason was to avenge the death of the girl that he had to kill at the end of the last Battle Royale.
Yeah, I like that, and I like the reveal at the end where she turned on him. And I hate the flashbacks in this movie. I'll get to that, and I'll explain why in a moment. But that flashback scene in particular, which explains his arc, I like that. I like that she turns on him at the end, but she almost does it in a way to save his life. She doesn't.
Yeah.
She could have killed him in that instance, but she doesn't. She just damages him enough for him to turn and wipe her out, and then says, "Thank you for doing so," because she loved him that much that she wanted him to survive, and she knew the only way she could do that would be to get him to kill her, or they both die from the collar explosion. That was cool. I like that, but the fact that he didn't understand that after 3 years and why she did it and had to go back into the fucking battle royale again just to work it out pissed me off. I was like, dude, you are not that stupid.
It was the girl who, like, when he's going, I'm just here to understand. You see the girl who kind of goes, like, even she worked it out. Like, she worked it out instantly. She's like, I don't want to say you're stupid, but maybe it's because she wanted you to win because she loved you that much. And you see him go, nah, can't have been that. There's got to be more to it.
And that just brings me to the very, very closing scene. No, not the very closing scene of this movie, because this movie has like 6 different endings. But the sort of initial scene as they're driving away from the island and he has a cig and like the cigarette kills him. Like, what's going on with the cig? How has he died? Because he doesn't have substantial injuries that killed him.
He's been shot in the stomach twice. I think he's bleeding out at this point.
Oh, did he? Did he get shot twice?
Yeah, he got shot twice in the stomach. He got shot by the teacher. Also, the teacher at the end.
Oh, yes, he did. Yes, he did.
When they shoot the teacher, so the teacher's got this through arc that he's arguing with his daughter over the phone while he's running Battle Royale. When he gets shot and he's dead, and the phone rings, I love how he just gets up like nothing happened and like nonchalant.
After being shot like 7 times with an Uzi.
He just like walks across like nothing's happened, sits on the sofa, picks up the phone, like, yeah, like, I'm not going to be making it home. Yeah, it's been a bad day at work. I don't know what to say to you. And then he dies. I love that.
Did he shoot the other guy?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Because like he had that gun which turned out to be a water pistol, and I was like,
that was a water pistol. But he did get the guy definitely got shot. He was really beaten up. Not as beaten up as our main character, who spends half the movie on crutches and all
looks like he's just survived World War II.
Honestly, he got the biggest kick in from everybody. Even when he went to the house and he had the group of girls that were going to protect him, because he accidentally killed that guy at the beginning with a pot lid. And that other girl saw, she tried to poison him, inadvertently poisoned someone. And that whole segment in that house, I thought was amazing. Cool. Well, they're like that. They're the best of friends and everything's working till a guy come in the house and then they all turn on each other and kill each other. I was like, wow, that's...
Yeah, I mean, they don't turn on each other because the guy's there, but I like the way that causes the chain reaction of events that causes them all to just massacre each other was really well played out. That bit was cool. I did like that. I mean, there's a lot here I liked. I'm not completely bashing on this movie. I just don't think it deserves the high praise it gets. Let's talk about the various different endings before we get there. So, again, another annoyance for me. Dream sequences in this movie. What the fuck is that ghost kid in the basketball court? I know that's a kid who died at the beginning. He was the first one to die after the girl who got stabbed in the head. But I know the dynamic between the two, the sort of like foster brothers and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
But his ghostly messages that kept coming up throughout, I was like, oh my God, not again. And then we have one right at the end, and I'm like, why? And then we have the dream sequence of the teacher with the girl who he's been protecting and talking about living together in heaven or whatever it was. Like, oh my God, what is going on? This is just a cool concept movie that is just being dragged down by so much bloat and annoyance. Like, what are they doing?
See, I liked the dream sequences, but then I liked the series Lost. This is very much Lost-like.
Oh
They
my
start
God,
having a
you're one of those guys
conversation.
who gets to the end of Lost and still appreciated it.
I loved Lost all the way through, even when it got
Fucking hell.
wildly off the rails and they time traveled. I was still in.
That is
But
the
yeah,
worst show ever.
I like as they're having like these conversations and then it slips into these flashbacks that show you how these two characters interacted before this moment. Like I love these, and we get a couple like with especially with the girls when the girls are fighting, the two incredibly violent girls. When they come face to face, we get a flashback there, and they're like they were kind of cool with each other at school, and then it goes back, and like you can see that all of that kind of cool at school was all faked. It was all for show, and they actually hate each other. Like I loved all those little it added a little element to each character by giving us some back plot. Because this movie starts and it basically goes, you see him at school, 5 minutes later, right, you're going into Battle Royale now, you're all going to kill each other. And at no point does it explain why. We know nothing about the character. So having those flashbacks, I think, helped us at least understand a little bit more about each person that they gave a flashback to.
And I think that's where my problem lies with this movie. Now you've expressed it in that way. I think the issue I have with it is the constant back and forth, detracting from the scene that I'm actually invested in and the action that's going on to give us character development and build up. I would have much preferred to have more development at the beginning of the movie, maybe spending like 20 minutes showing their daily life at school, their character interactions, and setting these characters up properly, and then going into Battle Royale for the last hour and 30 minutes. But for me, they don't do that. They don't give us that. So when we're in Battle Royale, immediately, I say immediately, we're not. There's still 40 minutes of mismatched blood that could have been spent developing the characters, as I'm trying to say. We're thrown into the mix straight away. You don't know who the hell anybody is. You can't work out who you're supposed to be investing your time into because it's constantly flashing so quickly between character and character and character and character. They should have spent more time at the beginning.
You still there? We've lost Mark. I promise I didn't kick Mark from the studio because he went on a rant. That was a technical issue.
I'm having flashbacks from that time you used to mute me all the time.
Yeah, see, I think maybe like the flashbacks are a good thing because had we had those on this episode, maybe we'd have understood where you were coming from before you disappeared.
I think my general point was that they should have utilized those flashbacks at the beginning of the movie to build up the characters, to make everything a lot more investable, and then we would have gone into Battle Royale having attachments to certain characters.
Yeah. Should we take a break?
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that. I actually have a soundbite for a break because I like helping people, so I thought a soundbite to lead us in would be great.
You know what really gets my dick hard? Helping out my friends.
When you finish this episode, head over to yourunpodcast.com and check out some of our other network members. There's Voices from the Mausoleum, your home for horror on YouTube. Everything from found footage to remakes to conspiracy theories. They even have a horror coffee morning. This is the place for you, so check out Voices from the Mausoleum. Also available on the You Run Podcast Network, the horror-friendly podcast hosted by Katie and Chantel. This hilarious horror movie review show covers horror movies from the past, the present, and even the future when they cover movies that are only at film festivals. This is a show you must check out. These and many other shows all available at yourunpodcast.com, so head to our website today. So please go to yourunpodcast.com, check out the other network members. Also check out our shop while we're there. For those of you who don't know, Mark, a couple of weeks ago, started a feud with the gays who listen to this show. There's no other way to do that. Mark made our gay listener base rather upset. He got very, very annoyed, and
Please, these gays, they're trying to murder me.
so to counteract Mark's horrible comments, we're going to release a new piece of merchandise. So on the back of this piece of merchandise, it says, "We say gay and we slay," with a lipstick mark. And on the front, "You run podcasts, safe for all since 2021." Because we really are. We're super inclusive here, despite some of the horrific things that Mark said about the
I'm
wonderful
blown away by
actress.
how much my Meryl Streep comments has just gone away with me. I got like some serious heat from a lot of people about Meryl Streep.
Yeah, you need to keep that Meryl Streep hate down, because
But thank all the evil gays.
Mark obviously doesn't hate gays. He just doesn't like Meryl Streep or Cher or how many
I
other
like
gay
Cher.
icons? How many other gay icons can I accuse you of hating in one swoop? Do you want to do facts first, or would you like the return of TikTok talks?
Let's do facts, please.
Okay, fabulous. Well, during our technical issues, I managed to bring up some facts because, as I said, I have no notes whatsoever. How much do you reckon this movie cost to make?
What, in dollars or in
in dollars?
yen?
Not in yen. No, I don't want it in yen. I want it in dollars.
I would say 2000, about 8 million. I would have guessed by judging from the quality of the movie.
4.5.
Oh, okay, that's
So,
not bad. That's not bad at all, really.
It made $1.5 million in its global box office release, which was very limited because it was banned in multiple countries on its release. It was banned pretty much everywhere, still banned in South Korea to this day. It then went to the DVD market. It made $37 million on the DVD market.
Wow.
And its actual streaming figures that it's made are unreported, but they're rumored to be sat somewhere between 80 to 90 million dollars.
That's an impressive turnover.
Massively impressive. It is one of the top 10 highest grossing films in Japan of all time. Let's give you some actual facts about this movie. So the movie was banned, as I said, on everywhere, still banned in South Korea. This is Quentin Tarantino's favorite films, one of his favorite films, and he actually cast the girl in the yellow jumpsuit in Kill Bill, playing exactly this. Yeah, she recreated basically her kill sequence with the curved blade in Kill Bill, which again, cool. Super, super, super cool. Was originally a book. Very different to this storyline. So, like, the teacher wasn't there. It was a different teacher who was much more evil, much more ridiculously nasty without any provocation. The book also gives a lot more depth to the back plot of the story. This is another movie that suffered where they adapted it from such a deep, big, thick novel with lots of talk about the government and lots of talk about the Battle Royale law that's been brought in, where that's all explained in depth in a book. You can't do that in a movie because people won't listen. They'll just switch off. If they give you an entire chapter's worth of explaining the Battle Royale law and why it was brought in and how it's planned to work, it doesn't translate well to film. So I can understand why they cut a lot of that out.
Yeah, I think for me, I would probably prefer the book of this. I think I need that clarification on certain elements of this movie, and I think it is possible. I think it is possible to translate it well enough. Like I say, I think the concept's great. I just don't think the execution was brilliant.
This book is also the inspiration for one of the most popular games around, which was Battlegrounds, which came out in 2017, where they drop 100 people on an island and you all kill each other, which later become what is the global phenomenon that is Fortnite. The main playing mode in Fortnite is called Battle Royale. You enter a Battle Royale game. There are 48 deaths in this movie, one of the highest body counts of of a movie, full stop. There's loads. And that's about it for facts, because I'm trying to scroll through doing it live, and it doesn't work very well because I haven't got time to read them all properly. So we're going to call facts a day there. I'm going to close that screen down. I'm going to be more professional next week.
Before we go into TikTok talks, you say you've seen the sequel, Battle Royale 2. I watched the trailer for Battle Royale 2 immediately after watching this movie. It's very much fucking Takeshi's Castle on acid, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
But the reason I wanted to watch the trailer was because I was curious to know whether the surviving members of this movie follow on from onto the second film. And it looks to me like the lead lad who survives, he's in the second one, albeit maybe briefly.
There are some crossovers. The second one is not as well delivered. The second one, because this was such a shocking movie, and that's what gave it its notoriety. When they come to number 2, they lean heavily into that and more away from storyline. The second one is just basically a melee of violence with a story.
It looked like there was like a set of kids who were like SAS tactical gear, and then a set of kids who were like Lord of the Flies surviving, and they would just pit them against each other.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right, okay.
This movie also inspired the Hunger Games, despite the author of the Hunger Games saying that they didn't know this existed.
When did they write the book, The Hunger Games?
The Hunger Games was written about 3 years after Battle Royale was written.
Yeah, that sounds suspicious as far as I'm concerned.
Very, very suspicious. And it's almost like point for point, exactly the same. Like the plot, the narrative, the way some of the kills play out. Like it's the fucking same book.
I've not seen any of the Hunger Games movies, to be honest with you. They don't really appeal to me, but
you're not missing anything. They did have an American remake of this planned, and it was due to start filming, and then the Hunger Games was released, and they went, we're not going to do that because the American audiences will just accuse us of copying the Hunger Games, even though this is a remake of a movie that came out first.
Yeah.
So
you can't please everybody.
Anyway, I took some time off of TikTok. I am now back on TikTok, which means TikTok Talks is back. If you want to follow me on TikTok, it's @YouRunPodcast. I post lots of wild statements on there that will really rile you up, because that's the only way you get traction on TikTok, is you go on there and go, Michael Myers sucks ass, and then you just get a barrage of engagement. It's amazing. And everyone on TikTok, there's a certain group on TikTok that I kind of like, they're my people, and they're all really cool, and they all accept that everyone has different opinions. There's a big niche of TikTok that do not allow you to think differently to them. And if you say something that even like slightly doesn't follow the general consensus of the world, they attack you like you're Satan. It's amazing.
Man, I haven't been on TikTok in years. I don't plan on going back either. Too much headache for me, that shit.
I love TikTok, and I love that TikTok Talks is back. So I asked for everyone to give their opinions on Battle Royale, and we got 3. So we're going to start with Flicks and Friends podcast.
All right, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Let's take a look at this.
Such a cool collection.
Very, very cool. I didn't realize it was a theatrical.
And as for the story,
when this movie came out over here in America, like that release, I was working at a movie store, and it was around the same time Hunger Games came out. And there was this group of kids that came in, and I was just talking to them and just being the movie guy there. And one of the kids picked up Battle Royale and was like, "Huh." I'm like, "Yeah, that movie was just released. It was banned for a very long time. It's pretty fucking rad." And it's where Hunger Games kind of got its premise from. And the girl whips around. She goes, "Hunger Games with a book." I'm like, "Yeah, but that movie at the time was over 20 years old. It was first." And she goes, "But Hunger Games was a book." I'm like, "Okay.
Battle
Royale fucking rules."
Sick tash, man. I aspire to have a mustache like that soon.
Yours is coming along though. Yours is looking a little bit more like "Don't go near a playground" than curl the ends at the moment, but it's getting there.
Yeah, it's getting there. I think give me a couple of weeks and I might be on my way to buy some wet look gel so I can twizzle this bad boy.
I think you should. Who else have we got on TikTok Talks? Dave.
Oh, so Battle Royale, you say. So we're talking about the Korean movie from, I believe, 2000. The movie that inspires Hunger Games. The movie that has one of the greatest characters of all time within the school teacher. He's just hilarious, fantastic weird. The movie that is brutal, it's violent. The entire inception of the idea is crazy. We are talking about this Battle Royale, yes?
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It is without a doubt the single greatest foreign movie ever to be made. As fantastic as Oldboy is, as fantastic as Train to Busan is. Then you've even got some of the French movies like Infested. All these are great movies, but Battle Royale is by far the best foreign movie ever made, and I will fight anybody on that. Battle Royale 2, not so much, but still. So, Stitch, direct comment. Can we tell Scott that I am not the only one who agrees with him, and Battle Royale is awesome. I'll see you on the next one.
Give me your address, Dave. I will come to your house and I will fucking fight you, man. That is not the best foreign movie at all. It's not the best foreign movie. No, it's not. I can list about 5 on the top. Wreck, Train to Busan, Martyrs, The Wailing, High Tension, The Platform, When Evil Lurks, The Night Eats World, Demons. These are all marginally better than Battle Royale. I could keep going. I could list at least another 15, 20 more that are better than Battle Royale. What is with people's attachment to this movie? It's okay. It's not a bad movie. It is heavily flawed to fuck. Will you all stop talking nonsense?
Wow. Okay. Well, we've got one more TikTok talk.
You know how long I've been waiting for this? Woo! I'm finna make a name for myself. That was a bit dramatic, but it felt fitting because holy shit, you picked a banger. Battle Royale is based on a novel written by Koshin Takami that was released in 1999. It's been translated into mangas and into 2 feature-length films. And not for nothing, downright plagiarized with the Hunger Games series. The author of those books says, "Oh, I didn't even know about that story ever even fucking existed. Come the fuck on." But anyway, Hunger Games aside. I watched this film in the early 2000s. This was as I was making my first film, and I watched it on the drive to filming, and I just did not know what I was walking in on. It is dystopian in all of the best ways fucking imaginable. It is deliciously dark and cynical in its approach to violence. Takeshi Takano is fucking amazing in this movie. He is evil without being one-dimensional. And his story, the way that it culminates at the end of the film, is just fucking incredible. But that's the case across the board for all of the performances in this fucking film. Everybody is on their fucking A game. This was in a wave of Japanese extreme that was really popular in the late 90s, early 2000s with films like Ichi the Killer, Audition, and of course Battle Royale. And for me, of those big 3, it's Battle Royale, like 100 fucking percent. Look at that, I didn't take 5 minutes to praise something. What a fucking concept.
If there's one benefit to you being back on TikTok, that is Chunky Larry. I have missed his rants on this show, I'll be honest with you.
He's wild. I love the fact his impression of Gambit is so spot on. It's scary.
Very cool.
Yeah, so Larry loves it as well. Honestly, I think for one of the rare occurrences, you are actually on an island. It's very rare that you dig your heels in on a movie that's so well loved and go, actually, I don't like it. And as much as I give you shit, that's the reason you are the co-host here, because you stand by what you actually think of the movie and don't just go, well, everyone else thinks it's great. It's great. Like, you don't do that.
The
And I
thing is, I
appreciate that.
wanted to love this. I really wanted to love this. I know how well regarded this film is. And I was like, I'm going to have a blast. This is going to be the best thing ever. And I'm going to be sat here saying, where has this movie been all my life? But I just don't get it, man. I just don't get it. I've seen it done better. I've seen this concept done better. And I imagine watching this in 2000s, you was probably like, yeah, this is cool. And then you've gone on and spent the rest of your life holding that love and nostalgia for the first time you watched this film and it blew you away. But man, I don't know. If I'm on an island, I'm on an island. I'm happy being there on my own. But that's just how I feel. And I'm not going to sit here and lie to you all and tell you that it's great when I don't think it is.
Which is good. That's like, if you'd done that, you wouldn't be here. You wouldn't have been here as long as you have been. If every time there's a movie that's popular, you went, this is amazing. I love this. This is so good. There's 1,000 other podcast hosts that do that, and you're not one of them. Which leads us lovely into the beautiful segue for you to give your roundup of this movie. Let us know how you feel about Battle Royale, and I dread to think, but where you score it.
Okay, so I know I've been particularly harsh on this movie throughout this review. That isn't necessarily my overall stance. I don't think this is a bad movie. I think it's actually quite a good movie, but it's heavily flawed. There's a lot of issues in here that annoyed me that I feel like could have been handled better. As a concept, it's fantastic. I love these kind of movies. This is my wheelhouse, this whole taking social norms and flipping them on their head and pitting people against each other and putting them in survival instincts against one another. It's great. I love that. And I think when done right, it can provide some of the best horror around. I already mentioned how much I love The Cube. That is a great version of this movie. Saw 2 is also a particularly great movie that handles this sort of concept of pitting people against each other in this isolated environment. The Platform, a recent one, Platform 2, which has just come out on Netflix, also recent. Very, very good movies that take this kind of idea and utilize it in a way that breaks all the rules and breaks all the norms, and people have to survive against one. I love that concept. I think it's fantastic. And this movie does it very, very well. But there's a lot that hinder that overall story arc in the way that the director or the writer, whoever has adapted the script for this movie, I haven't done any research for it, haven't presented it in a way that was pleasing enough to me from a point A to point B. There was too much back and forth with the flashbacks. There was too much time spent with bloated, unnecessary exposition at the beginning. That 40 minutes spent showing the lead up to Battle Royale could have been utilized in a much, much tighter and a much more beneficial way to the story. I didn't fully invest in myself in any of the characters, and I think that as well is a lot to do with the build up to the movie. It just, I think it's that first 40 minutes, man. I'd already made my mind up going in from that point on that this was handled poorly. And that was one of the things that I couldn't shake going on, because I do love the stuff set within the island. I think it's all really, really cool stuff. The stuff where the characters come full circle at the end. I don't know anybody's name. And even if I tried to remember anybody's name, I would massively butcher it trying to pronounce it on the show. Some of the kills are fantastic. It really touched me quite a lot when there was the suicide stuff at the beginning, with a lot of the characters bowing out early on through choice because they didn't want to be involved. That stuff was handled really nicely. It's shot well. It's acted well. I can't really put my finger on necessarily what it is, but I just think as an overall start to finish, this isn't executed very, very well. And I think what's more disappointing about it is because I know how much I like this type of genre of horror, that to see it play out in such a mismatched way, and I'm sat there and I'm like, you should have done it like this, or this would have worked better if you'd have done it like that. And that's constantly what I was having a conversation with myself about throughout. And that's what pissed me off, I think, is that there is so much here to love and so much here to enjoy. Had it just been polished off a little bit better, I would be sat in the same camp as so many other people who are singing it from the rooftops. But as it stands and as the finished quality that it is, I just don't have that love for it. And I want to. And it's not that I'm out here purposely trying to bash it for the sake of getting engagement with people so they can all come at me and be like, "Oh man, you're so wrong." Like that's not my intention. I genuinely wanted to love this movie because I knew it's my kind of thing. It's just not.
That's next week's voicemails.
Yeah. But overall, I'm not going to be a dick and be like, this is a 1 out of 5 because it's not. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it for what it was. It could have just been done better. For me, it's a 3 out of 5. And I think that's me being generous with my score overall. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Hey, everyone's got different. Film is subjective, and that's the whole point of it. If everyone agreed on every movie, what's the fucking point?
Yeah.
For me, this is my favorite foreign film. It is in my top 10 of all time favorite films. I love the dystopia build of the fact that the government have made this a law that once a year or once every so often they take a class of children, dump them on an island, and pit them against each other in the goal of making one better adult who will then teach their children and teach people to be better people and not be so resistive against the government, which is the whole point of Battle Royale. It's to stamp out this like argumentative behavior that the younger generations have. And I love that element. I love the brutal violence in this, and they don't hold back. Like the bit where he starts killing kids in the classroom at the beginning, you're like, shit, he just threw a knife in her forehead. Oh, okay, he's going to activate that kid's collar and make him blow up, but for no other reason that he just didn't like that kid. That kid was an arsehole to him in school, and he's just making him suffer. And then watching all of it play out and all of the kids having different takes on it, and some of them choosing to take their own life, others understanding the situation they're in and using like their charm to go, oh, okay, let me in. Oh, what weapon did you get? Oh, you got a stun gun. Can I have a look, please? And then when she takes it off, just the expression change and like electrocute her and then kill her. Like all of those little elements, the way they play out, I love all of that. I think the ending's fabulous. The casting's great. Like I love this movie unconditionally. And there's an element of that I know is nostalgia. I saw this probably 2005, 2006, and it just stuck with me. And I know there's an element of nostalgia, but for me, it's a perfect movie. It is a 5 out of 5.
Yeah, I respect that, man. I respect it, and like I say, it is subjective, and for me, it just wasn't where it needed to be.
Next week is going to be subjective. Should we tell everyone what we're doing next week? We're going into No One Watches This Shit November.
There's nothing subjective about next week. We're watching an ultimate masterpiece, and I cannot wait.
So for the whole of November, we decided to get you all to vote on movies that are, let's say, less watched. Let's say movies that people look at and go, fuck off, I'm not watching that. And we're going to cover some of those, kicking off with the ultimate in this world, the Sharknado franchise continuation, as we take on Sharknado 5, Global Swarming.
Back, baby. I cannot wait for this. It's been years. It's been what? It's been a year, 2 years now since we last did.
It's been a year. The Sharknado franchise for me so far has gone 1 star, 3 star, 5 star, 3 star. So this one needs to get back up to Sharknado 3 levels of wild.
I think we're on similar paths, aren't we, with our scoring? I think we both came down a notch with Sharknado 4.
Yeah.
It was a bit too much heavy cameo, all the rest of it. So I'm excited for 5. I'm excited to get back on the horse.
And do you know the funny thing? This is the only film franchise that we don't go ahead. Neither of us have seen Sharknado 5.
No. I wait until it's relevant for the show before we move forward. How many of them is it? Where are we now? Are we halfway through? Are we past halfway through?
We got 2 left after this one.
Oh, right. Okay. So we're well on our way.
And then we'll have to go on to Lava Lantula.
Yeah, because we've got to tie, because they're tied into this as well, aren't they?
Kinda.
Yeah, there's like a whole Sharknado universe we've got to tackle.
There is. But we'll get through Sharknado first. So until next week, thank you very much for listening. Make sure you leave us a review. Remember, if you all review us, we'll be up there punching with the likes of Joe Rogan next week. That'd be nice. So if you could do that.
Would be.
Could you imagine? Because there's a couple of the really big podcasts that will give you and the top 10 podcast this week. Could you imagine us being in that? That's wild.
But the thing is, just think of the benefits, not just for us, but for the listeners. If we was up there with the big leagues, we would be having Robert Englund and Tobin Bell, and we would be having guest appearances from amazing people within the horror community on our show. Not only that, but this would become our full-time job. So you wouldn't be getting one episode a week. You would be getting multiple episodes a week. So just think about the content, guys.
Yeah, help us to help you.
Exactly. Don't do it for us. Do it for yourself.
Yeah. Or we're going to put you in a Battle Royale situation when we go for Love of Horror next year. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. We will catch you all next week. See you all later.
Cheers, guys. See you next week.
You want to die tonight?
Jokes you tell sets the scene. I hang on every word lost in the screen. Your passion for fear is contagious enough. You make me believe in Marc's overblown roundups. You run podcasts or a movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness and dread, leaving me grinning long after I fled. You run podcasts, horror movie review, unveiling facts and playing games too. Your words paint pictures of darkness